Hi everybody, welcome back to the Girly Girl Bookworm. So today I have my Book of the Month books to share with you because they just came in the mail today. And I have my weekly wrap up. So let's just get started. I'm going to start with the Book of the Month books because they have less to be talked about because I just got them, so I don't know too much about them. So I picked out my first, I picked out my Book of the Month book, and then I added on 2 more books because I couldn't not do that. So the first add-on book that I added was The Woman in Cabin 10 by Ruth Ware. I've been wanting to read this book for a really long time because I really enjoyed the In a Dark, Dark Wood by Ruth Ware, but this book has been getting so many mixed opinions, and then I came very close to buying it at Target in paperback for $12.99, but then I remembered that it was still on Book of the Month for $10. So I picked this book up. My friend just finished this. She brought it on her trip to Myrtle Beach, and she said it was good. She just was a little bit disappointed with the ending in that she liked In a Dark, Dark Wood more, so I'm really interested to see how I feel about this. I believe this is about a woman. She goes on this cruise, and she, thinks that she meets this girl, she meets this girl, and then all of a sudden, can't find her. No one knows she's existed, so it's, her mission to try to figure out, where this woman in Cabin 10 went, if she ever really existed, if it was all in her mind, or what happened. So, it sounds really interesting. So, I obviously want to pick this up at some point soon, like every other book on my bookshelf. Then I added my other book, Into the Water by Paula Hawkins, because this is my real life, real friends, book club pick for the month. We're supposed to read it by, not this weekend, by the end of next weekend, so I need to get this, but this is $20-something everywhere, even on Amazon. I think it's $19. So obviously to add this for $10 to my box, I picked it up. I don't really know anything about it other than she is the same author of Girl on the Train, which I kind of enjoyed. There's a lot of alcohol in that one, so I wasn't the biggest fan, so I'm wondering what this one will be like. Yeah, again, like I said, I don't know too much about it. I'm interested in getting into it soon. I don't know if I'm going to wait till closer to book club or what, because obviously the closer to book club is closer to my wedding, so we don't know what's going to happen there with plans going crazy. So I haven't decided when I'm going to pick it up, but this is obviously happening this month. And then my book of the month pick for this month, out of the 5 choices we were given, I picked up Final Girls by Riley Sager. I have seen this one traveling the booktube community. It's about these girls, and I think there was a killing at their school or something like that, and so they become part of this survivor group. And then slowly, years later, one by one, these girls start dying, getting killed. And so it just sounds like a real scary thriller, which is what I've been wanting. So I'm really excited to get to this one at some point. So clearly I'm into the thrillery books because all 3 of these are thrillery mystery books. So really excited. Like I said, and every other month I say this, I love Book of the Month, and I'm so excited that I'm still a member. And I would recommend it to anybody. Again, as usual, whenever I talk about Book of the Month books, I will either provide you the link, or if you ask me for it, I will give you the referral link to join this beautiful monthly book subscription. And then the 4 books that I read this week, I read The Summer of Chasing Mermaids by Sarah Ackler. I can't remember if I had started this book in my last wrap-up or if I was still contemplating reading it. This book follows a girl, and she has moved to live with her aunt and her cousin, I believe. She doesn't speak. She was in this tragic accident that took away her ability to speak and sing, and she was a big-time singer with her sister, and they were supposed to go on tour, but then obviously this happened, and she has just had a really hard time dealing with it, so they kind of sent her to this place. I can't remember, where she's from is from the Indies, and I believe where she's sent is kind of America. I'm not sure, so don't quote me on that. And obviously while she's there, she meets a boy, and she kind of connects with him, and there's all the friendship going on around, and he is trying to enter a regatta race. Apparently I have a thing for regatta races since I have 2 books that I read this year with a regatta race in it. And so she's kind of like helping him out because they need to do this in order to save their town, because his dad and some other person on the island's dad kind of made this bet, like, if you win, you get my son's boat, but if you lose, then I get to buy your house from you. And basically they want to like redo this whole town to bring more like tourists to the town. I don't know. I really did not enjoy this book. I gave this book 2 stars. It had its moments where like I liked it, but then other moments where like I just didn't. I felt a lot lost. I couldn't tell if there was supposed to be a magical realism aspect because she was talking about mermaids and this person, and she was having this kind of like conversation with a mermaid in the ocean, and I just like couldn't figure out what this book was trying to be. Was it trying to be a contemporary with a paranormal twist? Was it trying to be a contemporary with like magical realism? Is it just supposed to be a contemporary book? I didn't know. I couldn't tell. They were trying to like kind of compare it to The Little Mermaid, and I don't know, I just felt like it wasn't what I wanted. Granted, I didn't know what it was fully about when I bought it. I really bought it for the cover, but I really like just didn't actually enjoy it. So unfortunately, I have a bad feeling I'm going to end up unhauling this book. And then after that, I picked up Put a Ring on It by Beth Kendrick, and this is exactly what I needed after that book not being so great. I really enjoyed this book. I believe I gave this book 5 stars. It's the 3rd book in the Black Dog Bay series. The first book, which was The Cure for the Common Breakup, which I read last year and really enjoyed. And just a few months ago, I read the sequel, New Uses for Old Boyfriends, and now I'm reading this one. And this one was so good. It just like flowed nicely, and I read it really quickly. And I cannot wait to get to the 4th book, which obviously I don't own, so I'm going to have to order it at some point, but maybe not anytime soon because I got too many things behind me. And then I picked up Swinging on a Star by Janice Thompson, and this is the sequel to Weddings by Bella, which is like the first series to Weddings by Design, which I've read and loved. And this book, I don't know why, gave me a really hard time. I gave it like a 3.5 stars. And I usually love this author, but for some reason this one felt very like Christian fiction heavy, which I knew it was a Christian fiction novel, but it felt way more heavier than any of her other books have been in the past. It just felt like it was just getting smacked over my head, and I was like, real people do not talk like this about God and their everyday life, and it just was like, I don't know, it just like, and I'm like my religion is, I'm a Catholic, so like obviously I believe same thing as Christians, and usually Christian fiction does not bother me, but for some reason this just like irked me, and I was like, I like just dragged through it because it just like every other page just felt like it was hitting you over the head, and I just like couldn't take it anymore. So it took me a while to like pick this up because I like would put it down, and then I didn't really want to pick it up, and then I like finally just like sucked it up yesterday. I just like finished it, but it was too bad because I usually really, really like her book, so I gave it like a 3.5-ish, 3. And then after that, I picked up another book, which I just finished today, and that was Until Friday Night by Abby Glines. I've heard a ton of great things about this book. I think it's called the Field Party Trilogy. It seems like they're all companion novels, and I own book 2. It's back there somewhere. I gave this book like 3.5 as well. There were definitely things that I really enjoyed in this book. This book follows a girl, and she goes through something tragic. She witnesses her father murder her mother, which then makes her, when she like testifies against him, she just kind of like not loses her voice, but she just like, she uses not talking as a protector. She like just stops talking for the past 2 years, and finally her godmother kind of has enough of her and sends her to live with her uncle and aunt and cousin in this town. And also in this town, her cousin is a big time football player. I think he's the quarterback, and he's got all these football friends, and so this alternates perspectives between Maggie, and it alternates perspective between Wes, which is her cousin's friend, and he is also a big-time football player in this town, and unfortunately his father is dying of cancer, and he is not telling any of the boys about it. He's just kind of like dealing with it on his own, and like nobody knows that like his father is as sick as he really is, and it's like nearing towards the end, and for some reason they kind of have this connection. They're able to talk. She starts talking to him, And it kind of bothered me because he is like one of those like portrayals of like jerk, but really isn't a jerk. And I just felt like he was like overly jerky, which like just bothered me. Like at one point they refer to him as getting a blowjob in the boys' bathroom while he's still like talking to Maggie, and it's just like, I understand he was going through a lot, but I just feel like that doesn't excuse being a jerk. So like part of me was like really enjoying this book, but part of me like just couldn't get past that. And even when he was like trying to turn a leaf and not be as jerky, he still was just like irritating me. But this book did make me feel, it did make me cry, and I understand it to an extent, but I felt like I couldn't like love it and give it 4 or 5 stars. In the beginning I was like, oh, 4 stars, but then I just like, the more I read it, the more his character bothered me. And the fact that so many people have given this 5 stars and 4 stars, like, not that I'm not saying you can't think that way, but I just felt like I'm surprised because I've seen so many people hate characters like him in the past and say like all these like things, because like this is not a healthy relationship to begin with. And I don't know, it just like, it was interesting. And her cousin feels like a certain way towards her, like in the beginning, like he kind of seems like he's just like annoyed that she's here and that he's like mad that she's here, but then all of a sudden he was like very protective of her at the same time. Like he wanted to keep her a distance, but then all of a sudden he was like protecting her. So like I couldn't figure him out, like why the change of heart with him. I don't know. I think I will continue with the series. I do have book 2, but I don't know. I don't love this one as much as everybody else did. So that's that. So those are all the books that I read this week. I have no idea what I'm going to read next. Patrick's at football practice right now, so I'm definitely going to pick something up. I just don't know what, because there's just too many good books behind me. Too many good books that I just got. I don't know what direction I want to go in, so we'll see. And I will check in with you guys really soon.